guys, look at this. It is a little leopard sitting behind a log. Now, unfortunately, this leopard is not on our traverse. I must let you know. It is just off of our boundary, and I've been seeing... Excuse me. I'm allergic to cats, apparently. But now I'm trying to work out who this leopard is. It could either be Hosana, who is a young male leopard. He's just over a year old. Or it could be his sister Xongile. Now, it's very, very far away, and I haven't seen these leopards in quite some time now. And also, it's a bit difficult to tell when they're hiding behind a big log like that. I think it looked like it was Xongile, but I also don't know how much she has grown, and I don't know how much her brother has grown. But maybe you can help me out. Maybe the viewers who are regular viewers who have been watching for a very long time can help us out here. They can just let us know, and then Megan will confirm exactly which leopard this is. Now, both of them have been hanging around here. I must tell you, they're young. Normally they'd still be with their mother, but we're not sure what's happened to their mom. She's gone off somewhere. Whether she's gone to have new cubs, whether she's moved out of this area completely, nobody really knows. But they are doing just fine all on their own. Can you believe it? They're catching smaller things. They're catching things like terrapins, which are, I suppose if you're from the States, you might know them as turtles. Like, it looks like a miniature snapping turtle. But our terrapins don't get as big as that. And they don't snap at you, though I wouldn't want to put my fingers anywhere near their mouth. I think that would hurt. So they've been eating that. They've been catching small antelope too, baby impalas, baby common duiker, which is quite exciting. So they're slowly moving away from the things that don't normally taste as nice. Now, Carter, you're wondering how fast can a leopard run, and the answer to that is very quickly, but not for a very long time. So the charging speed of a leopard is about 24 meters per second, which is basically, by the time you've blinked, it'll be at your feet. It's so quick. But at a little dash, you see, they need to try and get as close to their prey as possible. They don't really run after it for a very long time, like wild dogs and hyenas would possibly do, even cheetah. They have to get very close, only a couple of meters away from their prey, and then they pounce. But that burst of speed, and if they do run a little bit, they're probably getting to about 60, maybe 65 kilometers an hour. But again, leopard don't run very fast unless they're running away from something and need to get away, like a bigger predator. And Braden, you are actually just wondering exactly that. You must have read my mind. Is that, does a leopard have any predators? And the answer to that is yes, of course it does. See, there are many bigger animals out here. So, for instance, the top dogs in terms of predators are the lions. They are much bigger than leopards. Both the males and the females are bigger. So these guys have got to be careful. And remember, they're in competition with each other. They're searching for the same things to eat. Though a lion, being bigger than a leopard, can take down bigger animals. So they will be going for things like giraffe and mainly buffalo and kudu and zebra, whereas a leopard would be going for an impala, which is an antelope, and, well, the various antelopes. Inyala, bushbuck, duiker, steenbok, all those types of antelope. But at the moment, I think this is Xongile. It does look like Xongile. Megan, have we got any word just yet? Megan, have we got any word yet of the confirmation if this is Xongile or not? Yeah, also, okay, so the ladies in final control also think it's Xongile, but I'm just double checking because I'm not 100% sure exactly. Like I said, I've been away, I've been on holiday. I went to Australia, and I wasn't sure, but she's definitely grown up a little bit. She's not as small and as dainty as what she was a couple of weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago. But you see, she's in the crucial part of her growing at the moment. And that's why it's important that she keeps eating, even if it is just small little meals like a squirrel or a terrapin or a scrub hare. That's fine, as long as she keeps catching them consistently, because she needs to grow now. So if she doesn't get enough food, you might find that her growth will be stunted just a little bit. And it's the same thing for her brother. And he's got a ferocious appetite. He just wants to eat all the time. And he's basically like a teenage boy, I suppose. So again, very, very important. But they're doing very, very well considering Mom has been absent for quite some time. We were all a bit worried about them, but I can tell you, hunting is natural to these animals. They're sort of shown a little bit by Mom how to sort of do it, but the rest of it just comes naturally, and they are so good at hunting. But she's very camouflaged down there, don't you think? Now, Ryan, you're wondering at what age does a leopard leave its mother? Well, in a case like this, where Mom has left these cubs, it can be as young as just over a year old, which is pretty young. But normally, it's at about 2.5 years old. But it depends on the leopard too, the mom. Sometimes it can be different. Sometimes she can chase them away earlier, or like Karula actually used to hang on to the boys for a little bit longer, sort of longer than most female leopards will. But it just depends again. It's like us as people. They all have different personalities. Some are more tolerant. Others don't have as much patience and will tell their little ones to move off and go and do their own thing. But it also depends. If Mom has had new cubs, maybe a little bit earlier than she would have liked, then the older cubs are going to have to move off and find their own home. So it's a tough life now for both of them, Hosana and Xongile, and they have to sort of settle down because they're so young. They're not quite big enough to defend their own territories. So when I say a territory, that's an area that they will mark and defend, that they will say, this is my home, I live here, I walk these roads, and no one else, no other leopards must come and walk here. That's basically what they're saying when they have a territory. But because they're so small, there's lots of other adult leopards around that they need to be very careful of, because if they get into a fight, they're most certainly not going to win because they are so young. They don't have the experience and they don't have the power that a fully grown leopard has. But this is really cool, and we're going to have to call it in on the radio in just a moment. But I haven't heard any other safari vehicles out on safari just yet. I think everybody is still at the lodges enjoying some high tea, and I think that's really what Xongile would like to enjoy, is some high tea, and maybe something a bit tastier than a terrapin. I think a squirrel would be good. Now, Lyric, you're wondering, what is that leopard hiding behind? So, that is a fallen log, a fallen tree. Well, it was a tree once. I can only imagine that the elephants would have pushed that tree over. You can see there? Maybe they were trying to stretch up and break some branches, or perhaps it was a dead tree, and the roots were sort of getting weaker and weaker. Maybe an elephant had a rub up against it, because there's lots of water around here, and elephants love to scratch themselves on trees after they've had a mud bath. So that also could have been the case. But for Xongile, it makes the perfect sort of climbing material that she can jump on and walk around on, or she can crouch behind it and hide away. And I think what she's hoping at the moment is, with all that long grass and the cover of that log, is that some thirsty antelope come down and drink at these little pans, or even an unsuspecting bird comes along, and where she can then sneak around in the long grass and get as close as she can to her prey and then try and catch it. But unfortunately, they're not the best hunters. Most of the predators aren't the best hunters, especially if you have to stalk and try and hide away from your prey instead of running after it and chasing it. That's a little bit better option. If I was going to hunt things, I think I'd have to run after them for a while. Now, Cameron, you're wondering how sharp are leopards' teeth? Pretty sharp. I reckon if a leopard were to bite us, even if Xongile were to bite us, but remember, these are all wild animals, and the only time I've ever touched leopard teeth is because we've got a leopard skull in the tent, which is really cool. So they're very, very sharp, but it's not the big canines that are as sharp. You know what is really sharp is their sort of molars. So they have carnassials, and they've almost got a serrated edge. They look like molars with a sharp edge on them. And those bits are the bits sort of just behind their incisors, the ones that they use to scissor and cut the meat off of course, the animals that they're eating, because that's what leopards eat, of course. They've got to eat meat. They are not vegetarians, and they can't eat meat and vegetation. It's only meat. So they are carnivores. That's what we would call a carnivore. Then something that eats both vegetables and meat, we call an omnivore. And then herbivores are the ones that are just eating all the vegetation, so the leaves and the grass. But now she's slunk down on the grass. She's just positioning herself. She's still very camouflaged. We're going to sit here for a little bit longer. But Jamie is on a roll this afternoon. She found the giraffe. Now she's got something that absolutely loves. It is running. Our leopard is running. And I think Jamie should come and join me in the sighting, because in case we have to move, she's gone behind the tree. She's seen something. What did she catch? What did she get? Maybe there was a squirrel. There she is. I think she's towards... If we go down a bit, there she is. What did she get? Now, it could have been a squirrel. It could have been a bird. It could have been a number of different things. But she saw it and she went into hunting mode straight away. She put her body flat on the ground and she started running straight into that thicket. I think she's got something. You see her tail's twitching slightly. And she hasn't immediately come up. Maybe she did catch something. Now, I'm a little bit nervous to move to try and reposition, because I don't want us to lose signal. We're in a very, very bad signal spot. There, she jumped up again. You can just see her tail swishing from side to side. And as you can see, leopards are very, very good at climbing trees. They are the best climbers out of the cats in Africa. There she goes. She's going up. Oh, was that the squirrel? There you go, guys. Run, squirrel, run. That's what she was chasing. Did you see that? That is the luckiest squirrel in the world, I tell you. That is so lucky to make an escape from a leopard. My goodness, I bet that squirrel's heart is beating really quickly. Now, she's probably going to come out of that tree, because there won't be anything left in there. But that was so cool to see a leopard in action. And as I was saying earlier, we were talking about leopards and hunting. Leopards are not very good hunters like the rest of the cats. So this is sometimes what we see. We actually see it quite often, is animals, the big predators, trying to catch things, but they often are not good enough. And it takes them a couple of goes before they perfect it. And even though she missed here, she would have learned a valuable lesson. And she will remember that next time and make sure she doesn't make the same mistake again. Now, Monica, you're wondering how high can a leopard jump? Well, Monica, I've seen a leopard from the bottom of a tree jump at least 3 meters up the tree without even touching any of the tree. There she is now. Wonder what maybe there's another squirrel in there that she's looking for, that she could be chasing. So they can jump very high, and they can also jump quite far as well. They can do massive leaps. But it just depends on the leopard too. Some leopards are better climbers or better jumpers than others. Like us as humans again, they have got talent. Some might be better hunters. Now, their mother is the most amazing, absolutely amazing huntress. I don't know if she's caught something. I can hear a noise. Oh, I can think it's one of the birds trying to give an alarm. Can you hear that? That brah, brah. 3 Oaks Elementary, I believe that all of you that are watching are all clapping and sort of saying bravo to the squirrel. I also say bravo to the squirrel, because I think that's an amazing talent to get away from a leopard. How cool was that to see? And did you see how fast that squirrel could run as well? Now, it's actually quite dangerous for squirrels to come out in the open like that, but of course this was definitely needed. Let's have a little listen. There's a squirrel actually alarm calling. It's going to call again. It's going to go. There's the go-away bird going wah, shouting at the leopard, letting all the other birds know. It's not doing a proper alarm call just yet. Now, the squirrel has also stopped calling, but that squirrel will tell everybody else. And it's amazing that they all speak one language. Oh, there she goes. Hello, girl. She's a bit sad, but they can all speak the same language. Even if it's a bird or if it's a antelope, when they give an alarm call, they immediately know what animal it is. She doesn't look too thin. She's just lean. And she should be lean at this age. But she's looking good. She's definitely grown much bigger since the last time that I saw her. Now, this, of course, is very, very far away. So if you do see the camera moving around every now and then, it's just because we are zoomed in as we can. But how cool is this, though, that we're still able to see her? Now, Bailey, you're wondering, what does a leopard do at night? More things than it does during the day, because leopards are predominantly nocturnal. So that means they are more active at night time. So diurnal is when animals are more active during the day. But a young leopard like this can't really afford to be sleeping too many hours during the day, because she was probably a little bit hungry. So she will try and hunt whenever there is an opportunity, but there will be many rests throughout the day. And as she starts to get a bit older, she'll sleep a lot more during the day. But at night, they've got better eyesight than most of the animals that they're hunting. So they've got a better opportunity of being more successful at catching some prey. Now, she wouldn't be going after squirrels at night, because the squirrels go and live in little holes inside the trees. So it makes it a bit difficult for her to catch something like that. So she'll move on to some scrub hares, which I suppose, if you know what a rabbit is, they look fairly similar, or smaller antelope. Now, Paul, you're wondering if that squirrel would have been a small meal for that leopard. Yes, even a young leopard like this, it's just over a year old. It's really just a snack. So it wouldn't do her too much, but like I said, every bit counts. Because they're not very good hunters, they can go a couple of days without eating. Not because they don't want to eat, just because they haven't been able to catch anything. See, now she's just resting up a little bit, giving herself a groom. And she might even have a siesta in the shade until she spots something else. Now, Ariana, speaking about what things that leopards like to eat, you're wondering what large animals do they like to hunt. So a fully grown leopard can take down, if it's a big male leopard, he can take down a baby zebra or a baby wildebeest, but typically they won't catch any antelope bigger than, I would say, an Inyala, which is, I don't have a picture to show you, but maybe we'll find some Inyala. If we go and look along the riverbeds, we'll probably get some. So you can find them around there. So not massive, not like a lion that can take down a giraffe or a buffalo, an African buffalo. Those are much bigger. Leopards would not be able to take down something of that size, but they're very powerful. Remember what a leopard does when it catches its food. It doesn't just eat it on the ground. They can, of course they can, but most of the time, to try and hide it away from other predators so it doesn't get stolen, they'll take it up in their mouths and they will jump with it and put it in the fork of a tree. Now imagine, sometimes the things that they're catching can almost weigh the same amount as them, if not a little bit more. That's quite amazing to be that strong, to jump from the base of a tree, climb up a very tall tree with something in their mouth that weighs almost as much as they do. I think that is very impressive. There are no other animals out here in Africa that can do that. Just the leopards. That's why they are specialists. And that's the amazing thing about nature, is that each predator has got its own, I suppose, little incredible thing that they can do that no one else can do. Lions, of course, can climb trees, so can cheetah, but they're not doing it for the same reasons as a leopard. And they can go up pretty well, but coming down is a different story. You always tend to see the mishaps happening when a lion goes down a tree or a cheetah comes down a tree. Now, John, you're wondering, how do leopards climb so well? I think that was the question. It's because they've got very, very powerful shoulders. They've got very sharp claws, which they'll actually use and to hook into the bark and pull themselves up once they've done a big leap. And very powerful hindquarters. But I think most of their strength is in their shoulders. So if you compare them to somebody that was at the gym, it would be the guys that are doing the weightlifting. Big shoulders, big muscles on their biceps. But they're incredible. But it's so difficult, of course, to keep having a view of her because she keeps disappearing behind the vegetation. But she's been wonderful so far. But I'm not going to move just yet because I fear that we're going to lose signal. Oh, there she goes. She's gone back towards the log. I think that's her safe place. That's her starting point. And she was just slinking around there. See if we can spot her. They're very sneaky leopards. They sneak right past you. I can't even see her anymore. I have to just double check with my eyes. I think she went down. Maybe she sat down in the long grass. I didn't see her come out. Now, Mia, you're wondering how much food does a leopard eat each night? Well, Mia, it depends. If she can catch something every night, she'll actually sort of gorge herself. So it was a bit difficult to see there, but often the big cats have got a lot of loose skin underneath their stomachs when they don't have full bellies, and that's so that all their stomachs can't stretch when they gorge themselves. So they eat like pigs. They eat as much as they can for as long as they can, then they have a little rest, maybe a sleep, and then they keep eating more if it's a big enough animal that they've caught. I'm just going to turn the radio down. So I have called the sighting, and so there's lots of excited guides coming through here. Hopefully they'll get to see her too. But I think ideally they need to eat about 5 kilograms, maybe not even that much, maybe 2.5 kilograms of meat every single day for a leopard. That would be pretty good. That would be a very fat leopard too, a happy one. But unfortunately, the reality is that they don't always catch things every single day. I would say that, especially at this age, not quite, we haven't quite got fine-tuned hunting skills just yet. She could probably eat every second day, maybe every third day. But she'll be fine. She's a good girl. I think she's actually just sat behind that log in that long grass now, because she just sort of slunk in, and I didn't see her turn out anywhere else. We would have spotted her tail. But she's somewhere around there. And she'll be up and down for most of the afternoon. It's nice and cool today, like I was saying earlier. So she's not going to be using too much energy. It's actually a good day to be out and about and scouting for things, even little birds. This is really wonderful. Right, but our little leopard has disappeared, but it's been absolutely wonderful to have you all join us this